Today we're going to talk about Breaking Bad. Have you heard of this show? Breaking Bad is a really well-known, famous, well-known show. And I've seen it and it's an incredible show. So if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. We're going to talk about Season 1, Episode 1 of Breaking Bad. This is Walter White. So Walter White is a regular chemistry teacher and he teaches chemistry at the local high school. He has a wife here, Skylar, and he has a son. This is Walter Jr. So we've got Walter White, his wife Skylar, and his son Walter Jr. And he's 50 years old. So he's middle-aged. He's got a family, and you can see in this picture, his wife has put pieces of bacon into the shape of the number 50. She has arranged them. She's arranged the pieces of bacon into the shape of the number 50. The thing is with Walt, is he is somebody who people do not respect very much. He's a little bit of a pushover, right? Do you know what I mean when I say he's a bit of a pushover? I mean, he cannot stand up for himself. He's not strong. He can't stand up for himself. People can push him around. Yes, he's a pushover. And he's not somebody that people usually respect. People don't respect him. But the interesting thing about Walter White is that he's actually a genius. So he's a chemistry genius, actually. But although he's a chemistry genius, he's not living up to his potential, right? He's really not living up to his potential because he's a genius with chemistry. But what does he do for work? He works at a high school. He teaches teenagers. He teaches chemistry to teenagers. So he's not living up to his potential. He's only a high school teacher. Anyway, one day, Walter White's life takes a sudden, unexpected turn, right? His life takes an unexpected turn. His doctor tells him one day that he sadly has cancer. So he has lung cancer, cancer in the lungs, right? Which is most people get from smoking. So his doctor suddenly tells him, you have lung cancer. And from this day forward, Walter White changes his life, okay? His life changes radically. It changes radically, right? He changes the way he thinks because he thinks to himself, well, I've only got a certain amount of time left in my life before I pass away, before I die from lung cancer. So he changes the way he thinks. Now his son, Walter Jr., he's disabled, okay? He's disabled, he's got a disability. And that's why he's using these crutches here. You can see in this picture, he's using metal crutches here. So he's disabled, and one day, while he's trying on clothes at the shop, a bunch of bullies, these 3 teenage bullies, come over to Walter Jr. and start picking on him. You know what I mean? They're picking on him and making fun of him because of his disability. Now, usually, Walter White would not have said anything. In the past, he wouldn't have said anything to these bullies. But since he got his diagnosis, for lung cancer, he's changed radically now. And he goes up to these bullies and he stands up for his son. And Walter White, he kind of loses his cool a little bit. He gets really angry. He loses his cool and he starts kicking. He kicks this bully here in the leg, kicks him down. He really loses his cool. And his family, his son and wife can't believe it. Because they've never seen Walter like this. Walter has always been a pushover, yes. He's always been a bit of a pushover. He's always been soft. And suddenly he's standing up to these bullies. He's kind of lost his cool and getting angry. Now, this is Hank. So Hank is Walt's brother-in-law. Okay. Hank is Walt's brother-in-law. Now Hank is works for the police, and he's a DEA agent. So that's the Drugs Enforcement Administration. The DEA is the part of the police in America. Okay, and one day Hank invites Walt for a ride along. So just a ride along. So Walt just goes along for the ride just to see what it's like to work for the DEA. So he goes along to a drugs bust. He goes to a drugs bust. A drugs bust is where you catch criminals who are selling and making drugs. So Walt, he's just there. He's not part of the police. Walt just tags along, right? That's all he does. He just tags along. He's sat behind in the passenger seat in the back, and he's just tagging along to see what it's like. Now, while he's there, he sees somebody that he didn't expect. Somebody he would have never dreamed in a million years that he would have seen.
Oh my God.
During this ride along with his brother-in-law. And that is here, Jesse Pinkman. Now, Walt already knows Jesse Pinkman because Jesse Pinkman used to be a student in Walt's chemistry class. So when Walt sees Jesse Pinkman, it's a bit of a shock because he wasn't. The last time he saw Jesse Pinkman was in his own chemistry class many years ago. But when Walt sees Jesse, he comes up with an idea. He comes up with an idea and he thinks, well, you know, I am a chemist. I know how to make drugs. Yes, I know specifically meth. Do you know this drug? Meth, methamphetamine. Okay, so Walt knows how to make meth because he's a chemistry genius. And so he goes to Jesse Pinkman's house. He follows him home and he makes Jesse a deal. He says, I will cook meth, right? Because I'm the genius chemist, and you can sell the meth because you're a drug dealer, okay? And then we can work as a team. We can work together. I'll be the cook and you can be the dealer, and we can work together and make lots of money. Walt wants to give money to his family to pay for his cancer treatment, first of all, and also to give money to his children after he dies from cancer. Jesse agrees, and Walt and Jesse, they go and purchase an RV. So this is an RV. It's this kind of mobile home. You can drive it around and you can live in it. So they get an RV and they go to the desert. Okay, this is Walt standing in the middle of the desert, and this is the RV in the background. And Walt and Jesse start to make drugs. They start to cook meth together. They cook meth in the middle of the desert. So here they are, they're cooking meth, and this is the meth that they create. Now this is a very high quality meth because Walt is a genius. Walt is a chemistry genius, right? So he makes this incredible meth. Now this meth is worth a lot of money because it's so well made, it's so perfect, right? So it's worth a lot of money. Now Jesse's friends, this is Crazy 8 on the right, and this is Emilio on the left. Now Emilio was Jesse's ex-partner, okay? But they are not friends anymore. Jesse tells Crazy 8, he tells Emilio that he's got this amazing new drugs, the incredible, really high quality meth to be sold. However, these two, they turn on Jesse. They turn on him, right? They turn on him and they betray him. they want to just take the meth for themselves. They're not interested in working with Jesse. So Crazy 8, he puts a gun to Walt's face and he threatens Walt, and he says to him that you need to tell us your recipe for the meth, because that meth that we've seen is amazing. It's a perfect meth. So he threatens him with a gun and he says, you need to tell me your recipe or I'm gonna shoot you in the face, right? So Walt has no choice. He's got no choice. So he goes back into the RV and he starts showing them his recipe for meth. And while he's cooking the meth, Crazy 8 and Emilio, they are watching him carefully. They are observing everything that he does so that they can copy it and create their own meth, right? Of course, after they have seen Walt cook the meth, they are planning to kill Walt and leave. Okay. Now Walt does something here very clever. So Walt manages to escape from Emilio and Crazy 8, but meanwhile a fire has started next to the RV. So he goes over, he tries to put out the fire, but he can't. And then he hears something in the distance. What does he hear? He hears sirens. There are sirens in the distance. It must be the police. Right? The police are coming to arrest him. They're going to find him. They're going to find out that he was cooking meth, and they're going to arrest him. So Walt takes the gun. He's ready to shoot the police, or at one point he tries to shoot himself because he thinks the police are coming. He thinks he's going to be arrested, and he goes to shoot himself. And he's ready, right? He's ready, standing in the middle of the road, and he's ready to face what comes. He's ready to face the music, right? He's been doing drugs, he's been cooking meth, now the police are coming, and he's ready to face the music. He's ready to face the consequences of his actions. However, it turns out the police were not coming. It wasn't the police. It was actually the firefighters. It's actually a fire truck. So when he heard the siren, he thought it was the police coming, but in fact, it wasn't the police. It was actually the firefighters coming to put out the fire that had started. So Walt is okay. He's not going to be arrested, and Walt gets away with it in the end. So that is Breaking Bad Season 1, Episode 1. Thanks for watching this video. Keep listening to Comprehensible input. Keep getting input, guys. And I will see you in the next video.